something that's not going to surprise any of us, Brandon. Charlie Munger. I don't know if you caught his most recent interview, but guy's still pretty bearish amongst other things. He said that cryptocurrency should be completely banned. He called Bitcoin rat poison. And he said that, here's a direct quote, "I don't think it's good for our country. I don't think it's good that our country is going crazy over Bitcoin and its ilk." He said that it's terrible for civilization as a whole. So yeah, Charlie Munger, probably not going to be buying Bitcoin anytime soon. But here's the other interesting thing, and you pointed this out right before we started the show. He also said that the dollar is going to zero. And I believe in the same interview, he said you shouldn't buy gold. So interesting. I wonder what Charlie Munger is going to be holding as a currency. I know they're big on Coca-Cola. Do you think that Coca-Cola has the potential to be the reserve currency of the world? I don't know.
Look, so here's something I say about this is you should look at what investors do and not always what they say. So there was also some news that came out earlier this week, or maybe late last week, that that Warren Buffett's investing in a bank that does Bitcoin related transactions and is kind of like holding Bitcoin and things like that. So I don't have that exact bank or anything like that. So, obviously great research done here at Green Candle. You can't coach that kind of stuff.
It was New Bank, NU Bank. Yeah.
Yeah. So Warren Buffett invested in New Bank, which, is involved in the Bitcoin space. And his buddy Charlie Munger comes out and says this and disavows essentially Bitcoin, says it's bullshit, yada, yada, yada. But he also says the dollar's going to zero and don't invest in gold, right? So I'm kind of just digging through the lines and reading between it here. And I think that they're starting to come around on the use case of Bitcoin. I think like one thing that these fiat bros kind of see is that their world economic view is the stock market and all these companies make money and the 2% inflation is normal and, all this and that. And like, you need to print money in order for an economy to work properly, right? And to avoid economic crashes. Even though, economic crashes obviously still happen when you print money and things like that. And sometimes it makes it significantly worse, but that's neither here nor there. So I think a lot of these stock market guys, it's a very hard task and it's a very hard ask to kind of grasp, the Bitcoin standard and what that all entails. And so I think he's starting to come around on the idea. I'm obviously just speculating here. I'm not buddies with Charlie Munger and his old scraggly ass, but I think that it's definitely like look at what I'm doing opposed to listen to what I'm saying kind of thing. And so it's Bitcoin's getting too big to the point that they can't ignore it. And, it's also something that like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger invested in Apple at a very late stage, and they kind of disavowed Apple at the beginning too. So they've been kind of slow to the roll on tech, and they think some tech is overvalued and all this and that. But it'll come a time where it hits 100K or, maybe higher or something like that. And next thing you know, Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, if they're still alive, are still are buying into Bitcoin. So although it seems somewhat negative and he's a bear and whatnot, I think that he's kind of starting to get down the rabbit hole, if that makes sense.
Well, buddy, he doesn't have much time to get down that rabbit hole.
Amen.
These two guys are getting pretty damn old. And we should also point out that New Bank, I believe, was backed as a startup by Buffett. So it's probably not too surprising that he's getting into it. It is interesting that it says here purchased $1 billion worth of New Bank. On the other hand, it sold $1.8 billion and $1.3 billion of Visa and MasterCard stock. So yeah, they're kind of shifting away from these more traditional financial structures and maybe into some more fintech related things. And then New Bank too, we should point out, this is a Bitcoin show, but New Bank is big on cryptos generally. And then the other thing I'd point out is that Brazil seems to be one of these countries where like adopting Bitcoin makes a lot of sense as legal tender. And so who knows?